Hey everybody, welcome back to my unprocessed life. I'm just dropping my coworker off and I'm headed to the house. That's the plan. I don't have any shopping to do that I'm aware of today. I think we have everything that we need. And so I'm going to go home and have some dinner and enjoy the day with my family. I know you can tell over the last week, I've had a lot of congestion going on. I started with that sore throat about a week ago, and it moved from my throat down into my chest, kicked out of my chest, went up into my head, and it's just sitting there. It's just sitting there waiting to be done. I haven't felt this much mucus since I wasn't a vegan. I remember back in the day when I used to have a lot of dairy products and so forth. That was a constant battle that you would fight with mucus. Of course, you wouldn't realize it. There are a lot of things I didn't realize, that was going on that I dealt with when I wasn't vegan. At that time, it was kind of like even the sleep apnea stuff. I just didn't realize how bad I felt until I felt better. And then once I felt better, I was like, oh, I felt really bad for a long time. That was, when we first went on to doing the Engine 2 diet, where we first became aware of really how being a vegan would, or actually they didn't even call it being vegan. They actually tried to get away from that particular ideology. They were just saying plant-based. I had no idea how being plant-based or vegan could really affect your health. And we had been doing the Engine 2 stuff for about 6 months, I think it was. And we had seen some pretty phenomenal things happen, by going plant-based. My wife dropped her, her cholesterol by like 100 points or something. I mean, it was insane. I don't remember what it was. It was a huge jump in like 3 months. It was enough so that when she went back to the doctor, they said, "What meds are you on?" And she said, "I'm not on any meds. I just changed the way I ate." And they said, "That's not possible. Why don't you just be truthful with us and tell us what meds you're on?" And she said, "I'm not on any meds." And they're like, "Well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because it's worked wonders for you." So we saw some pretty good gains with that. Well, I went out of town for some training with the company that I was working for at the time, and I went up to Boston. And while I was up there, I thought, well, now that I'm not around the family, and I've been doing this for about 6 months, I should go ahead and just do my typical type of diet that I would do, and see if I have any effect at it, if it makes any difference at all. Man, it made a huge difference. So I pretty much lived on pizza, and then I went and even had some prime rib while I was there, which didn't taste very good to me at all. It was a place that I would go. I'd gone to frequently. It wasn't like I just got a bad piece of prime rib. My taste buds had changed. I didn't care for the meat at all. It just didn't taste good. And I did eat a lot of pizza, though. And by the time that I got back, just a week of eating mainly vegetarian, with the exception of that meat that I had. By the time I got back from my training, I was so worn out, and I came home. I got home like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday after that training, and sure enough, I couldn't stay awake to play with my son. I mean, that's how crazy it was. And in fact, Jana, Stark Raving Raw, got mad at me because she was like, you can't even stay awake to play with your son. Well, I was too tired. There was too many. My body was going through so many changes trying to process that food that I hadn't eaten, and I couldn't get enough water. I was so dehydrated from eating that way. That was another huge surprise. I was like, because I was so dehydrated, on the trip down, Man, that sounds something else. On the trip down, what would happen was I didn't have any problems with being dehydrated. None at all. And then, sure enough, when I got back home, man, I was dehydrated. I couldn't get enough water. I was constantly dry. I was always thirsty. It was just something else. I couldn't believe it. And so then that was when I realized, hey, guess what? Yeah, the plant-based stuff really does have something to it. And so I cleaned up my act quite a bit, and it made it a whole lot easier for me to be able to function, really. And I'm not really sure how I got kicked off on that, but it was a stark contrast to the life that I had been leading, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't realize beforehand that I was so tired all the time because of what I ate, not just because I was overweight. And so it's the same kind of thing when you don't realize when you're eating a lot of dairy how that really affects your breathing and your mucus production and so forth. Now, the doctors will tell that to you, and I know because when I had pneumonia, they said no dairy products because it creates mucus, and we don't want any more of that to be created in your body because, well, you've got pneumonia, and we don't want you to have any more mucus than what you have to have because you could die. Now, I'm not used to mucus now or being all stopped up because being on the plant-based diet for so long, I haven't had to deal with that. But I also don't get sick very often. I usually don't get sore throats or anything. This is probably one of the longest periods of time that I've had where I've had to try to deal with something. So, and I'm confident that this would have gone on a lot longer and be more painful if my diet wasn't plant-based. Anyway, all right, so if you want to see pictures of anything I eat in a day, make sure you go to my Instagram feed. I put up some pictures of the Agent 2 oatmeal raisin cookies that Stark Raven Raw made last night, and they are delicious and yummy, and the picture turns out really well. So you can check me out there, myunprocessed.life at Instagram. If you want to email me directly, you can do that at myunprocessedlife@gmail.com. Additionally, if you leave comments down below, I'll make sure that I answer them as quickly as I can. If you like my videos, make sure you like them. Give me some Google love. If you love them, make sure you share them. And if you want to know when new videos are coming out, make sure you click the subscribe button. As always, thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate it. I know your time is valuable and important, so the fact that you'll spend some time with me, that's very humbling, and I really appreciate it. So until next time, which will be tomorrow morning, y'all have a really great day, and I will see you again real soon on My Unprocessed Life.